Welcome back, Minties. The Uncanny Omar here. And with me on this segment, Old Reader, New Readers, I have the amazing Amanda
Hey guys, how's it going?
and Maddie, who hasn't
Hey.
come up with a name yet.
Oh, listen, it has to be natural, it can't be forced.
No, that's right.
Okay, natural Maddie. Got it. Um, and today we're going to be talking about Infinite Crisis, but we're going to be talking about the miniseries leading up to Infinite Crisis. We're not going to be talking about the 7 issue main event. We're just going to talk about the 4 series that lead up to it. This has been collected in trade paperbacks. It's been collected in 2 printings of the omnibus. And why is it coming? Can you shut it off? Just shut. It's my work computer.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about the lead-in stuff. I don't know about you all, but I also read the pre-countdown stuff. And, of course, I reread again Return of Donna Troy because I have those issues at home anyways.
You're excited about it.
And, yeah, and I that's always just a nice quick read because it
Yeah.
involves, Outsiders and Teen Titans and all these other things. But I'm pretty stoked. I didn't realize until I started getting into it because I was reading a lot of it digitally. And then I finally opened up this omnibus because I didn't bring it to China with me. I didn't realize how much this omnibus is just the stuff before the actual crisis.
Can you
I was,
tell?
Yeah,
I was
you
reading through it. I was like, oh wow, this is still Day
Yeah.
of Vengeance.
you're
Almost
gonna
right
need
here.
that though to understand a lot of the things that are going on because this is the sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and I know anybody that has read this, because of this, because of this book right here, we have the MCU. The MCU has a lot to thank for this, and that is because never, as far as the history of comic books that I was concerned, have has the editors decided, okay, we're gonna do a one shot and then we're gonna do 4 miniseries. Those 4 miniseries are gonna collide into one huge event, right? They took that formula and used it in Annihilation. Same editor, one of the editors that left DC when did it at Marvel. Well, not Kevin Feige, but the guy before him was a big fan of that. He was like, "Oh man, we could do this with movies," and they did. And because of this, just saying, before you give that Oscar speech, you could thank Jeff Johns and DC Comics.
Don't think they're gonna say Jeff Johns DC Comics. I'd be shocked if they did.
This all of this pre stuff had a fantastic writers on this.
Yeah,
Like
they
it was so great to go through and be like, okay, Jeff Johns, oh Rucka, oh
yeah
Simone, oh like it's just
had
like
some really good
heavy all the heavy hitters on this, which
Mhm.
is
So,
really great.
in a perfect world, if there was a guy on YouTube that was making his top 30 most wanted DC omnibuses, like me, I would have, if I was doing top 50, I would have done a prelude to this because there was so much you could have added. You could have added the Red Hood because it all ties into this. You could have added Outsiders and Teen Titans.
Hmm.
You could have added the Planet Heist, which is the Adam Strange story,
Yeah.
because literally you're dumped in the middle of an Adam Strange story within the pages of the Rann-Thanagar War. So let's talk about what kicks it off, and that is Countdown. And Countdown was a one shot, and that leads into the Omac Project, which led into Sacrifice. So, um, really quick, just Blue Beetle says, "Hey, there's some money being stolen from the court corporation," and all his friends are like, "Yeah, man, you're just tripping, dude. Ain't nobody taking your money." And he's like, I'm so alone. I guess I'll do this myself." Gets shot in the head, killed. Now all the heroes gather together, especially Batman. He's like, "I can't let this happen. Ted did not die in vain. We got to find out what's going on." Then that begins the Omac Project. The Omac Project, Omacs are back. They're characters that they're revamped, so they're brand new to the DC universe this time around after Crisis, and pretty much they're kind of like, I don't know. How would you describe them, Maddie? Would you say they're
I'd
more the
say
Borg or Daleks? How would you
I'd say
describe them?
neither. It's almost like a sleeper agent type of deal, right? Because
Yeah.
you've
Like
got it's like
Battlestar?
sleeper agent, cyborg kind of
Didn't they
deal.
have a sleeper agent in Doctor Who? Wasn't someone a Dalek sleeper agent? That girl, or she
Oh, maybe.
Oh
in the
yeah,
Day of the
good call.
Daleks or whatever. So I guess
Yeah,
they're kind of like Daleks in a little bit
Yeah.
way. Um, except they're programmed to kill just metahumans, not really um everyone. They're not hell bent on ruling the world. They just have a specific target in mind.
Right.
And who created it? Who was the most like suspicious guy, right, to run it? And you find out within the series that it was Batman, right? He didn't trust
Yeah.
anybody, so he was
Yeah.
behind the whole thing. And Sasha was a character within the pages of Greg Rucka's run on Batman, so she plays a big part in this. So Maxwell Lord, the guy that formed the Justice League International, that guy, he kind of plays the mastermind in this. And he does something with Superman, brainwashes him and controls him
Yes.
into thinking that he's fighting Darkseid. He's thinking that he's fighting Mongol and all these characters, and really he's just beating the shit out of his friends. Mainly Batman, right?
Yeah, mainly
Put Batman in a coma. That's okay.
Yeah.
Batman's back within the next issue, so doesn't matter. So this is a big event because during that crossover, so it was so interesting because during that miniseries, you also had the crossover event between Superman and Wonder Woman, Sacrifice.
Yeah.
And within that crossover, that's where Wonder Woman crosses the line, and
Which is great. Like this whole
so
part
awesome
is so
and unexpected.
interesting to see, like the difference between Justice League, which is I think only recently kind of come back, right, and then Justice League International too, and seeing how like just these issues between your main Justice League members, between Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman, and then seeing how Wonder Woman felt because I think a lot of them felt really guilty after the fact that they didn't listen to Ted Cord.
Yeah.
And they didn't believe him. Which why wouldn't you believe Blue Beetle? Are you kidding me? Whatever, but fine. Like, and then I think just seeing how they react differently to things, and seeing Wonder Woman fight Superman was really cool too. Like, I always appreciate when there's a playing field where they show that she's just as capable, and I like seeing the differences. People they always think that the general public sees Batman as like this really violent guy, right? And so we have movies that are poor portrayals of Batman and Superman. But Wonder Woman's the one who's a real warrior. And then seeing her cross this line and kill somebody because she knew that she had to do it, because she's the one who's like, no, there's no other option, is really interesting. And then seeing, because this continues to affect storylines after the fact, like once she does this.
Mhm.
And like even in Heroes in Crisis, they brought up this picture of that death because it's such a like huge moment in her history and storyline. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, yeah, I think the Omac Project was Countdown and then Omac, I think is a great way to kick off all this prelude to Infinity Crisis. Because this Countdown to Infinity, the Blue Beetle story with Booster Gold, and which Booster Gold's from the future, so I'm still trying to figure out is he just supposed to can he help anyone? Does he not know everything? I guess.
Oh, don't worry.
Does he not know
that we read 52 pickup, and you'll understand a lot.
Because I was
he has a lot of redeemable qualities.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I still loved his character, but he was the only one who really believed in Blue Beetle. So much
friends.
he ended up in the hospital, and it just seeing what happened in the end. And the Omac part was crazy. They go through like a couple of issues where they don't even know or realize that Blue Beetle's dead. They just like, where is he? Like, this is let's follow his trail.
It's so sad.
Where'd he go? Where did he disappear? But I think the sleeper agent aspect of it was a really good turn in the Omac Project. I think that it made it if they could just kill Big Brother, right, or Brother, if they could just kill Brother, everything would be, or destroy the satellite, which they can't find, it would be great. But now they realize all these humans have it inside of them, so now they just can't kill all of these robots. They have to be smart about it. But Brother gets the last laugh, because that ending with Wonder Woman right there, that yep.
Yeah, so it ends with this page with the entire world finding out what Wonder Woman did, right?
Yeah.
So that's where it ends. And that kicks off Villains United. Now, before we talk about Villains United, we have not read on this show the infamous Identity Crisis, right? That's the 6-issue Brett Meltzer storyline, where a lot of things happen, but one of the things that happens is a group of heroes, some of the Justice League members, including Green Arrow, and they decide to wipe Dr. Light's mind. And it wasn't the only time that they did it. When there's another crossover here, and that kind of and the villains find out. Now, when the villains find out, they form a group led by Lex Luthor. But there's 6 of them that refuse to join this group, and that is the secret. They will eventually become the Secret Six, right? These guys right here, these cats. Oh, I love. This is probably this is a. What's that?
I love Catman. He was a standout.
Oh, Catman is just like Batman.
Scandal is awesome. Yeah.
Scandal Savage is one of my favorite characters. Oh, I love them.
Well, I'm always happy to see Cheshire, but
yes, even though
that's my girl.
Cheshire's awesome.
Of course, I would like this one a lot because Gail Simone wrote it. I mean,
well, it's just really good. Like, I really like the idea of these, group of Suicide Squad, because that's what Secret Six turned out to be. It was just like the Suicide Squad, but for a new age, and
they should have done a movie
that refused to. They're all led by Mockingbird. We don't know the identity of Mockingbird until the very end. So the purpose of this is just to, serve as all these villains are united. They're taking out the good guys, and then they're going up against the Secret Six, who refuse to join them for some reason. And one of the things that happens in here that sets up a couple of things is, so you have the Lex Luthor, right?
Yeah.
Now, Lex Luthor has somebody in his captivity, right? And nobody really knows who that is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the identity of Mockingbird. We don't know who Mockingbird is. Well, that all comes to a clash at the very end of, I believe it's issue 6.
Yes, that's when
where Lex Luthor reveals that it's Pariah that he's been hiding, right, in his bunker. And
now we all know what's happening.
Pariah, of course, is the guy
shows up.
That was like, oh, the worlds are ending, right? That guy that freaked out in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So he tells Lex Luthor, he's like, your double's out there somewhere. So that's the first time you kind of hear of that. You're like, wait, this isn't which Lex Luthor is this? So we still don't really know. And then he shoots and kills Pariah. And now Pariah is dead. So one of him and what's her name? Arbinger, she passed away. See, again, this would have helped to have another lead in Omnibus, but she passed away in the pages of Superman, the Batman Superman storyline with Michael Turner. And that's kind of where this ends. So, Catman does send the list to Green Arrow. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think is really why these 6 of them decide not to join, is because the secret society, they want, all of our heroes destroyed, and they want all the power. And at the end of the day, these 6 know how, it just can't be that way. We just can't have it like that. And so, but he brings up some interesting stuff in there. He talks about Green Arrow and mind wiping and everything like that. Maybe you guys can get back to the way you were, being the actual good guys and not those gray areas where you're kind of like us almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh man, I was really excited to see Ragdoll, because I only recently was introduced to him because of he's in the Flash right now.
Oh,
he's terrifying. So I was really excited to see Ragdoll in here.
Flash, because I mean, is it the same backstory as this Ragdoll, or is it like his father just has double jointed, or did he go? Oh, he doesn't have the surgery.
He was already a contortionist or something, and then the meta whatever.
Meta gene hit him, and then he became
very creepy,
more contortionist. Okay, so it wasn't like in this one where he had surgery because his family was double jointed and they caused stuff, and they wanted to make him. Oh, that's terrible! What a sad story. And it was awesome to see that he has that conversation with Grundy and Solomon Grundy, and then he turns because he turns on the secret society. I think that was a great part of this as well, when they have the fight towards the end.
And they don't all make it, which kind of leads into the Secret Six, right? The Parademon ends up dying the way that he wanted to, but it kind of preludes like what to expect from this group of characters that eventually they won't all make it. All right, so really quick, thank you everybody for joining us in the chat. There's a couple questions here. Maddie was not fired. She was she was in China, and she's back.
Definitely hard videos.
I am wearing pants tonight, so there is a 50-50 chance that I was not. You are right. Who was that? whoever said that. And Reels Talk will be back next week, I think.
We're doing a review of Spider-Man, of course.
Spider-Man next week.
So
Yes, of course.
I can't not do that.
And then how did the three of us meet? Amanda is my cousin.
Mhm.
Maddie is our friend, and together
We came together and
we
met.
came together to do this show for you fine folks.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the next series.
real
Go
quick.
ahead.
I love this couple right here.
Oh, I do too. I actually thought of you
Oh.
when I read that, Maddie. I said Maddie probably likes this.
I was like,
Everybody that is
And and they hinted at that she actually might not be okay with everything early on too, during when they have some of them in captivity. But I didn't realize that they, were going to make them a relationship. But I do like that, she keeps telling Lawton, I'm a lesbian. You know what that word means, right? Like,
I love those characters.
Man, I love this era of. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, and it makes me want to reread Secret Six, which I did a comprehensive reading order a few weeks ago, and looking at it, everybody that has read that run loves that Scandal Savage, really, because she's the daughter of Vandal Savage, right?
Yeah.
The villain. Loves that relationship, and oh my God, that book will break your heart, and you will be so pissed.
I'm down to read it. I was just thinking while reading this time period of DC Comics loves to give me very unique characters and relationships that I will never see again. Looking at you, outsiders. Thanks. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
It's okay. So then we get into another little miniseries leading up to what is known as the Day of Vengeance, and that is, where is it? Oh, it's the Lightning Strikes Twice. This pretty much is right after Identity Crisis. Jean Loring, I'm not going to say why because these ladies have not read him. She is in captivity, and Eclipso takes over her body and goes crazy. Now, if you know anything, like Superman has a weakness against magic, so there's a reason why all these things are happening. That later on leads into the Day of Vengeance 6-issue miniseries, which this is written by Bill Willingham, the guy that wrote Fables. And the artwork is Justiano. He only goes by Justiano, and I love his artwork. It's very simple, but it's awesome. This pretty much sets up the Shadow Pact, the group of characters known as the Shadow Pact. And I also love all these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Ragman, one of my favorites.
Yes, Ragman, Black Alice,
Enchantress we needed.
Yes,
not the one we got
not the one in
the DC universe. God.
But
sorry if anyone liked that. Clarity.
Because of Hal Jordan coming back from the dead during Hal Jordan Rebirth, the Spectre is now left without a human host.
Yes.
So Eclipso kind of manipulates him into going after the ungodliness that is Captain Marvel and his wizard Shazam, right? So he's like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So he goes after them and pretty much ends up just destroying the Rock, right? And everything in it.
It's him, it's all magic, because he's going after every magical being,
right.
Which is a very similar premise to later on what Jason Aaron did in Doctor Strange with his run. It's a whole idea of they were destroying magic. Anyways, that's what it reminded me of when I was reading it.
And how could I forget about Blue Devil and Detective Chimp? How could you not like this team? Oh my God, this team! I love Shadow Pact. It didn't get as much love as Secret Six, but man, it was so good. And
quirky characters too.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about it. And I love Bill Willingham. He's just a good writer.
Mm-hmm.
So that literally, that's what it does. It serves the purpose of destroying magic. And all this time, in the back of your head, you're like, what is happening? Because at the time, we really didn't know what Infinite Crisis was going to be about.
Yeah.
But everything is going to make sense when we get to that first issue. At the end of the first issue, if you've been reading DC Comics for a while, even if you're new to DC Comics, you're going to be like, oh shit, that's what they've been leading up to. So the next thing is probably one of my least favorites, but also one of my favorites because I love Ivan Reyes' pencils. Dave Gibbons, he was the writer on this, and this is the Rann-Thanagar War, and he was the artist on Watchmen.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, this is a slog.
It was my least favorite read out of all of them, to be honest.
I think this one feels different because you're talking about characters that are outside of Earth, right?
Yes.
So they had already had something going on with the Adam Strange Planet Heist storyline, and you don't know what's going on, so you don't know that there's this giant war and these
Well,
people
they
are
briefly
against each
mention it
other.
in the countdown. In the countdown, they briefly have a scene of him talking to Adam Strange talking to Martian, but this one was just rough to read.
Right, Adam Strange comes to Earth to try to get a bunch of heroes to help them out. But they're basically all doing their own thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty much at the end of the series, it just forces Rann-Thanagar they're just faced with this little fracture. I'm going to show you of like something that we've seen before. It's a fracture in space. Let me see if I can find it really quick. Right here. This page right here. So because this is pretty much what the series set up. Literally, the planets were colliding. You're like, what's happening? And later on, in Infinite Crisis, you find out why these planets were moving. So that kind of sets up the characters that are still in space.
Yep.
You got Kyle and Adam Strange, Kilowog, and a few other characters that are still in space, and that they'll come into play later on. And Hawkman, of course. And then you have the miniseries or the Justice League part called Crisis of Conscience, which is a follow-up to Identity Crisis. And as much as I did not like Identity Crisis, I absolutely love this crossover. This is written by Jeff Johns and Alan Heinberg. Alan Heinberg was, damn it, he wrote and created Young Avengers, but Amanda, he's a TV writer, and I can't remember what he... Alan Heinberg, Heinberg.
Well, then he'd be on IMDb if he was the TV.
Yeah. I just figured you would know. I think I want to say he had something to do with Lost, maybe? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, so this is the storyline where Batman finds out, and he is pissed that everybody did this mind wipe thing, right? So he confronts the League members that were part of that vote. He's like, how could you all do this? We're heroes. We don't wipe anybody's mind. And then it turns out that they weren't the only, like, Dr. Light was not the only one that was wiped. Other characters have been wiped as well, and 6 villains found out about this, and they're letting everybody else know, and they're coming after the League. I absolutely love this because it's one of those things of like, who do you trust? Your own friends did this. I love this part with Aquaman showing up. So badass. He had been gone for a while too. So yeah, that all leads to a big fight with the Sparrow, and then at the very, very end, you get this little thing where John is in the watchtower. And he sees somebody, and he's like, "Hey, who are you? Who are you?" And boom, and everything leads to Infinite Crisis. So that's pretty much the gist of it.
So I have a question.
Was it Lost then? Is that what it was? Lost?
No. He's never written for a TV show, but he was a producer for Grey's Anatomy and Sex and the City.
Sex and the City. That's why I love that guy.
Yeah,
okay.
He wrote Wonder Woman. He is one of the writers.
He did write Wonder Woman. Oh man, and his run took forever. What was your question, Maddie?
Okay, so I did most of my reading digitally, so I actually missed this last story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
So when you provide, so earlier, like, because I have this, you sent me a bunch of digital files for Infinite Crisis, and some lead-ins to that aren't in the omnibus. So I was curious, if like which stories you also felt were really important to also have, because like for example, in the digital files you included Return of Donna Troy, which includes Teen Titans,
yes,
and Outsiders, and then the DC special Return of Donna Troy, and then some pre-countdown stories like Red Hood, which you've already talked about, and then the story with Power Girl and the Rogue War and Superman Shazam. So I was just curious, like,
oh my gosh, if
I'm sure I'll see how that ties in, but I was just curious to see like what other stories you felt like you wish were kind of included as like prep reading for all of this, or
I mean, honestly, you don't really need it, right? I think I'm a firm believer that if you enjoy good stories, then they're gonna resonate with you regardless of what you've read beforehand. You're gonna
yeah,
fall in love with the characters. You're gonna fall in love with certain moments that happen. But the payoff is so amazing if you had been reading everything. And I will tell you the very first time it was mentioned, and that is, of course, this is a follow up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. But we didn't know because that moment, they said, okay, we're going to simplify it. No more multiple Earths. Of course, they went back on their word and things started happening again, like they always do.
mm-hmm.
But the first time you hear it again in modern time is during Superman and Batman, the first story arc. Like Lex Luthor in his classic green and purple says something like about a crisis is coming. And
Yeah,
you're like, what is he talking about? Now, that was 3 years before this event.
Mhm.
So then Jeff Johns started prepping for this event with, the Green Lantern Rebirth. Uh, the Planet Heist was doing its own thing up there. But at the time, we didn't know it was all related to this. And it will come, you will find out why. I want to say it's in issue 5 or 6 why these things happened and why they got to get rid of magic. It's amazing how much they were talking to each other. There was a storyline in Outsiders and Teen Titans. One of my favorite moments in Outsiders is where, what's his name? Your boy,
oh
Roy.
boy, oh
Uh,
man,
what,
I
what
always
was his
forget
name?
his name.
Um, Arsenal. When he
Oh,
was
sorry, I
known as
think you're talking about
Arsenal
the
at the
other
time.
one. I know.
So during this time, Arsenal, uh, we got a super chat, by the way, and I'll answer that here in a second, or we could talk about it. Arsenal had an inside information from Batman, like he'd been dealing with Batman on the side,
Yeah,
and he finally lets Dick Grayson know. He's like, "Hey, I'm here with Batman," and Dick Grayson's like, "Dude, what are you talking about? I'm sitting here
oh
next to Batman," and it turns out that he was talking to
yeah,
Deathstroke the entire time, and all of this like was leading up to this huge Villains United event. Even the stuff that was happening with Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
right? With what's his name, Psycho. Man, it was just so much. I would include Red Hood, some of those the Superman, Batman stuff, especially the attack on Amazon,
hmm
Themyscira, right? All that stuff. I'm sorry. If DC would ever do a IWEG event, Final Crisis would be the best option.
Yeah, which
Is he asking which? Oh, which one would be the best option?
I think he's saying that it would be the best option. He's making a statement.
Oh man. I think I don't know. This is one of my favorite events. This is probably my favorite event. I think it would be just. I think it would be amazing on screen if they could pull it off. Just the things that
yeah,
are about to happen. But it's been, like I said, years in the making. Everything, and even the inclusion, like, because they talk about everything. Everything's explained. Why people are coming back from the dead. Like
Yeah.
everything is explained. Like from the And I remember there's a point, and we'll get to it here in Infinite Crisis, where he was like, it all started with you. You came back from the dead and you left this door open. And he's talking to Superman.
yeah.
So there's also this amazing stuff that's going to happen that we can't really get into yet. But yeah, Red Hood, I would include that. Like I said, Planet Heist.
There's a lot
So
of good stories going on around this.
There
Like,
really are.
I mean, Outsiders blew my mind with how good it was,
Teen
and I wasn't
Titans.
expecting
Teen
that at
Titans
all.
was,
Yeah,
was
Teen Titans was
amazing.
great. Like, oh, and somebody brought up in the chat, like, why, if you recommend, if you had any Superboy Prime prep, you would recommend. 'Cause I know that he's coming up in this.
So Superboy Prime is one of those characters that is very. This series made him who he. Oh my god, I can't wait for you two to read it so I can talk about
I'm
how much I
excited.
love him. Because all we've seen from Superboy Prime is he appeared in a few issues in the 80s, and then he appeared in Crisis on Infinite Earths towards the end. He was just a kid.
Yeah.
And he went and disappeared with two old people and Alexander Luthor. That's the last you see of him, right? So you
Mhm.
don't really get that much character development out of him. But man, when he comes back in this, you're like, holy shit, this kid's awesome. And
Yep.
that's all I will say until we we talk about this. So yeah, thank you, Nathan. That's right.
Yeah.
DC Presents 87. We really didn't have that much. Yeah, the ladies we read
We read it a while
Crisis on
ago,
Infinite
right?
Earths. It was around January.
time.
We kicked off the year with that.
Yeah, we started the year. There's an old episode where we did read that. So check it out and see what we thought of the
Superboy Prime Punch. Yeah, that becomes a thing in this, man. It's so good. So let's break down the series. Obviously, you two felt like the Rann-Thanagar War was not your favorite. What was your favorite miniseries, Amanda? Let's start with you. What was your favorite out of the 4 that you enjoyed?
Out of the 4, I think the one I enjoy. Oh God, it's a toss up. So I really enjoyed Villains United, because I love the stories of where our villains have to be heroes in their own respective ways, and I think all of the character moments, all of the relationships were so well done, and I liked the humor in it, and I really enjoyed that, and I liked the reveal about the 2 Luthers, and I like, kind of how it ended, right? So maybe that one's my favorite, but I also can't deny that I also really, really loved the Omac Project. And that's mainly because you see, it's basically where something that a superhero has created turns on them, and it kind of shows what the negative consequences are. And there's so much that goes into that. So I think Villains United and Omac Project would be the 2 that are at my top. Then Days of Vengeance, because I do like the magic aspect, and I loved the fight scenes with Captain Marvel towards the end there when he's trying to.
Thank you for calling him Captain Marvel.
Yeah, no, and Enchantress. Maybe I like that one more than Omac Project. Well, because when Enchantress has to channel all of the magical energy, even people who might have like a tiny bit, the person who always gets lucky or the person who always manages to do this, like that little bit of magical energy within them, she channels everything to try to funnel it into him so he could fight the Spectre. And meanwhile, they're trying to stop, I forget her name, Eclipso. So maybe that's my favorite, because that's whole part was amazing. I don't know, but definitely not Rann-Thanagar.
I remember reading these, and Rann-Thanagar was my least favorite. And for some reason, I enjoyed Planet Heist. I like Planet Heist. It was just, I think what they should have done is probably put that like second.
Yes.
And kept the other series, but you have to put Omac Project first, because Countdown immediately goes into
it, yeah, or starts it, yeah.
What about you, Maddie? What was your favorite?
Probably Omac Project. I really dug that, and I like Days of Vengeance too, because I like a lot of those characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, Detective Chimp is back in Justice League Dark.
Yeah,
see that side of the DCU, because we don't always see that, and I got a very small glimpse of Deadman, who's my fave, so I was very happy. Yeah, Omac Project's really good, but we all know that I'm a huge Blue Beetle, Booster Gold fan, so it's not a crisis without them. So I was very happy to see them. And I had done some extra reading that's not in the omnibus, some like pre Infinite Crisis stuff that I really liked, because I love that Superman Shazam First Thunder story a lot. And of course, I read Red Hood, which is really good too. And of course, Return of Donna Troy. But I'll always, try to recommend that to people. Whether it's good or not, I don't care. I like her. So
that was a hard read.
It's really good.
The Return of Donald Troy, I remember. That was
it's a mess.
Phil Jimenez has a way with words that he's just really long-winded, but he doesn't serve a purpose. Like, there's a natural beauty sometimes to somebody that has heavy dialogue, as long as it's making sense and there's a story to tell and a purpose. But then sometimes people just like writing a lot, and I think that's Phil Jimenez's. His artwork, oh my God, is one of the best artists ever. As a matter of fact, he did the covers. Oh wait, shit, no, Phil Jimenez drew Infinite Crisis. God, I forgot about that. Yeah, so when we get to it, you'll see his art.
I'm actually not a fan.
Beautiful. Obviously he borrows heavily from George Perez.
Yeah.
Like he loves George Perez so much so that his first published work was War of the Gods #4. He drew a few pages on that. As far as me, I'm going to stick with Villains United. It never got. Oh my God, I love that series. I fell in love with all the characters. By the end, I even didn't want Parademon to die, but I was okay with him if he had to go.
Well,
And
his relationship with the ragdoll was adorable.
oh yeah,
He's a
see, it's
clown.
things like that Gail Simone loves to do.
Yeah.
And then she just destroys your heart when you fall in love with these characters because things happen within the Secret Six that you're like, that's not fair, Gail. Why did you do that? And it just pisses you off. So, but yeah, Villains United for me. It's freaking amazing. What were your favorite moments from the minis?
Well, the Enchantress was my favorite moment. That's that part that
Okay.
I had explained. It really was one of my favorites. Finding out that Knockout was kind of spying for a scandal in Villains United is one of my favorites as well. And what about in the Omac Project? I mean, I thought it was really what I thought was insane about that was we figured out that Sasha was really no longer, I guess, human. That that threw me through a loop. Was not expecting that. So that was a shocker. That was one of my, I guess, maybe not my favorite moments, but really definitely something that stood out to me because I wasn't expecting it.
I really liked when Wonder Woman killed that guy.
Max Lord, definitely.
That guy.
Great.
Great. That was
I
a
keep forgetting his name. And I really liked her fight with Superman a lot. I'm always happy to see Cheshire, so any interaction with her makes me very happy. She's just such a fun character. I think Gail did a great job with her too. And any story where she's still a mom, because she's a sweetheart. Like Cheshire is Cheshire, but she really does care about her family. Although the weird thing with trying to have everybody's babies was kind of weird, but it's fine.
Yeah, she's like, well, I think she was using that to get out. She's like,
for sure.
Really? Blake, are you going to kill me? Because I might be carrying your child. We had sex a few times.
I could be
carrying your child. Oh, that man actually kind of wants to be good, Catman. So
yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things about Catman that I love.
So did he used to be like
a Batman villain?
Okay, was he like kind of like pudgy or something, or like?
Well, it depends on. I think it depends on who
draws
what
him,
what version, what year,
or
right?
He got revamped. Yeah. Well, when they show the flashback images of him, I was like, so what? That's what he looked like before, and now he looks like this. And since I don't know about Catman's history, I was okay. I'll take it.
He went through that Chris Hemsworth workout. There were a lot of moments for me that I enjoyed. Of course, bringing back Ted. I love that small reunion between him and the rest of the Justice League International. And then when he dies, it was so sad because it was like nobody was listening to him.
Yes.
He died by himself at the hands of somebody that at one time he trusted. Sure, everybody thought Maxwell Lord was an asshole, especially with his little mind control power thing. But never did I expect him to blow his brains out, even though there was a panel in Justice League International where him and Booster are talking about one of these days Maxwell's going to blow his brains out. Back in the 80s. And then I also love this little mini little reunion of the Justice League International with the members that are still alive. The Wonder Woman killing Maxwell Lord. Oh my God. I remember reading that in a weekly comic. I did not see that coming. When he's like, there's only one way to end this. You got to kill me. She's like, shit. Okay.
Oh,
what?
He's always going to have that hold over Superman. She can't.
Yeah.
Superman's like the strongest. You can't just let him be controlled. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Someone's got to make the hard decisions. And I like this too because this is, you take this story, right, following off of Red Hood, which happened before all of these tie-ins, where, Batman has that kind of discussion. Jason has that discussion with Batman, really. He's leading that discussion where he's talking to him. He's like, if you had killed Joker, imagine how many lives you would have saved. And so like, and then Batman continues not to, but like it was very interesting to read that story and have that conversation, and then you do have a Justice League founding member, making that hard decision for the world, and like, what else are you gonna do?
There's a lot of moments coming up that are that like just about every damn issue has a moment for me within in the final issue of Infinite Crisis. It was like so many pages that just spoke to me, including like a lot of the dialogue that was delivered and a lot of what the characters think, because not everything is black and white, and they even bring that up, right? Not everything is black and white in real life.
Yeah.
And her having to kill Maxwell Lord, I mean, it's all coming to play. It's the big three, right? There's a reason why they're at odds, and when you find out why, oh my god, it just becomes an awesome ride, and I can't wait to read it. Spoilers, I really enjoy the story. It's my favorite probably DC crossover event ever. So why don't we wait to give it a grade next week?
Yeah,
and we'll grade it as a whole, because I think it reads a lot better as one huge story instead of let's grade the miniseries and then grade the ongoing series. Now, each miniseries does have a one shot within the pages of Infinite Crisis that are important to read. Like what's happening to the characters. So I think like between issues 2 and 3, you have to read the Day of Vengeance miniseries. I think I mapped it out for both of you, so you should be okay. And if you have the omnibus, Maddie, you're fine.
Okay.
But those are the only ones that are important to read. And then the Secret Files. I would strongly recommend reading the Teen Titans issue because it's just beautiful.
The Secret Files?
There's a Secret Files in there too.
Issue. Okay.
But the only other issue that I would recommend that's not in there that you may want to skip, it's that Teen Titans issue between the fight, and you'll know what fight when you get to the Infinite Crisis issue 6.
Yeah,
you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay,
good.
So we will wait until next week. Is there any questions from the chat? What did you all think of this of the miniseries? I thought it was a really cool event that I had never seen before. A bunch of miniseries leading up to one huge event. I loved it. Oh, forgot to mention, and it's important, during the Day of Vengeance, when the Rock is destroyed, that one of the remaining things that Captain Marvel took was Scabbard, right? Blue Beetle Scabbard.
Yes.
So that does fall to Earth, and eventually something will happen. So
awesome.
Yes, is there any questions in the chat? Maddie, how was China?
Yeah.
It was good. It went really well. I had a really good time.
So what were you doing over there? You were with the students?
With educators and students.
Oh.
So we did like touristy stuff at the same time. We also visited schools and have like, conversation discussions about the differences in our education systems. So
wow.
It was pretty neat. I had a good time.
That's awesome.
Did some shopping.
Did you do some haggling?
Yeah, of course.
Nice. 179.
Len,
where are you if there's a tornado outside? I hope you're okay.
Not near us. We finally have sunny skies, but we hope you are okay.
Yeah, we had some crappy weather last week here, though.
We always have tornadoes in Kansas.
And I guess we could also talk about what to read in July, if you all wanted to.
Well, next week was going to be my birthday pick, but we're doing.
Okay, so why don't you pick a birthday pick? Okay. We are discussing Infinite Crisis. We just finished it, but we're only discussing the miniseries, and then we'll talk about the event and give it a final grade next Tuesday. So you really didn't miss much. Scut 9. All right, Maddie, back to your birthday.
Well, originally I was going to pick something DC, but that'll mean 3 weeks of DC, though. So I don't know if that's a good idea.
It's your birthday. You pick whatever you want.
Oh, speaking of DC stuff, look what my friend Lee got signed for me.
Is it Heroes in Crisis?
Yeah, it's oh yeah, I think
Oh.
maybe I sent it to you guys. Yeah, Heroes in Crisis as Booster, and then Tom wrote "Sorry About Roy," so he's got Tom and Clayman.
That's all.
Oh, and Tom King watched the show about Heroes in Crisis that we did, so
That's
pretty
cool.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
I hope he wasn't too offended. I thought he did a good job. Honestly, I really want to read 52 Pickup.
The entire week of 52. I think that would be the entire
No.
month of July.
No. Omar, the book, 52 Pickup.
Yeah, the omnibus. That's 52
No.
weeks.
This.
Oh,
52
Booster Gold. You
Booster
said
Gold 52 Pickup.
got you. But see that
Because you
wanna
said
say-
we couldn't read it until we read Infinite Crisis.
this entire time I thought you've been talking about 52.
No.
You're talking about Booster Gold.
Booster Gold
Okay.
52 Pickup.
I was like, Maddie, we can't read another 52 issues in a week. Okay, got
No.
it. Got it. Okay.
No, I was
If
talking
you-
about that.
If you want to read 52 Booster Gold, we can do that. That's not a problem. It's only 6 issues, I think.
Well, I don't know if we need to. We might have to read that and Blue and Gold, which is the first 2 volumes. I'm not sure.
That's the only stuff that was written by Jeff Johns. Everything else I think was written by Dan Jurgens.
Yeah. I don't know. Because it's hard to decide. Because the other thing I was going to recommend was Outsiders. But I don't know.
Thank you, Justin Page, for the super chat. He's new around. Thanks for all the great videos. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
I want to revisit Lemire's Animal Man. Me
I
too.
want to
I
read
can't,
Animal Man too.
I can't wait for that omnibus. Animal Man by Grant Morrison is solid, though. That still stands as one of the best Grant Morrison books ever written, in my opinion. Yeah, but the 52 we could do 52 sometime because that series is freaking awesome. Introduces Batwoman. You know, just saying.
Okay, I'm down. I don't know, I'll think about it. We've got some time.
Yeah, you got time. We got next week to.
Yeah, you
do
don't want to rush
this.
that decision.
Yeah, once I'm not jet lagged.
Sitting on the fly, yeah.
Right. Okay. So unless there's anything else in the chat, call it a night. Give everybody their 7 minutes back. So we're cutting it before an hour.
Yeah.
So join us back here next Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where we will finish talking about this wonderful omnibus, Infinite Crisis. And we're going to talk about the main event and the 4 one-shots. So total of about 11 comic books. One of you ladies want to sign us off?
Sure, I can do it.
Okay.
So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and remember to ring the bell for notification of more great Near Mint condition content. Remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at Near Mint Con. Check out our Patreon and our Redbubble. We do sell t-shirts now. Those are in the description down below. And remember, guys, if it's classy and cool, it must be Near Mint. Take care. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.